This video is sponsored by Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co.
Hi, hello, and Happy New Year. I kind of bought over 40 volumes of manga recently. Yatta! You know, it felt just a little bit right to start off the new year a tad bit unhinged at the bookstore. Mainly has to do with one of my biggest goals for my collection this year, and that is to build my dream manga library. Which to some might say, Ashley, don't you already kind of have a library? And well, you're not wrong. It's kind of complicated and a little bit of a long story, so to simplify that, last year I feel like I barely read or collected manga series that I truly treasure, and yeah, I want to change that for this year. I also think I've slowed down quite a bit on consuming any type of manga recently because of how much the manga market has changed over the couple of years, especially during the pandemic where it was like a big boom. And I remember I used to actually go to used bookstores a lot to find manga at a really great price, and places near me had like rows and rows of used and new manga, and that's just not it anymore. It's right now the places near me are kind of sparse and empty. Prices have like gone up of just staying at the value price of like $10 a volume or even more than that for used manga. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, that's crazy to me. I feel like prices in manga in general have been going up quite a bit, and it's been a little bit less appealing to buy manga in person now in stores, sometimes depending on the website online. So it is what it is. It's bound to happen at some point, but it's just, I don't know. It's happening too fast, right? And then, well, RIP Great Stuff. Let's talk about it. As a few months ago, Crunchyroll had acquired Great Stuff, and they kind of did this merger, and well, Great Stuff is no more, and that breaks my heart because that was pretty much my one-stop shop online to buy manga, art books, and sometimes figures, and I fell in love with its user interface. It was just so accessible and easy to find manga on there. You can be really specific and find super niche things, and you could also just not be specific and just wander and discover new things also. But with Crunchyroll's user interface, I think it's just face value. You get what you get. If you know what you're searching for, it does the job, and then that is it. You know, they chalk it up to that. I did spend a few hours last week when I was ordering manga on there, just kind of, you know, seeing what the options were on how to find certain manga series. If I wanted to see how the user interface would interact with me if I wanted to, you know, try to discover new things. Not great. It's not great. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But I will not let that deter me. I'm going to be on the extreme hunt for all the best deals, whether online or in store or anything in between, I guess. And I hope I kind of get to explore new places to shop at. It doesn't have to be local. Like, I'm even willing to go far and beyond to find some really good deals. So I don't know if you guys have any suggestions. Throw them in the comment section, DM me, whatever. I want to know. We need to help each other out over here, okay? Like, we are one big manga family. Yeah. Okay, I'll stop rambling, kind of, maybe not. But let's actually get into this manga haul. I went to 4 different places. Kuma Books, Crunchyroll Store Online, Barnes & Noble, and Second & Charles. Kuma Books is actually one of my favorite bookstores in Japan. I had recently went over there for the holidays to visit my husband, and of course I had to pick up some series that I've actually just started reading and found out about through TikTok and Instagram, so I can't wait to share what these series are about with you guys pretty soon here. I also did shop on Crunchyroll Store Online because I just wanted to see what it was like. It was my first time since the merger, and well, we kind of know how I feel about that now, so I made sure I had this list and just directly searched for the things that I needed to get, and I got them. And then I did have some series in the back of my head that I kind of wanted to get, or if I did see them in person, then I feel like it's just sheer luck, or maybe it was meant to be, so I'll just get them then. And so that's why I went to Barnes & Noble and Second Charles. They were also like right next to each other, so it's kind of convenient to do that. But before I actually show you what's in the manga haul and start talking about the manga and what I've been reading, let me actually introduce you to today's lovely sponsor, Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co.
Tokyo Treat is a monthly pop Japanese snack subscription box where you'll get up to 20 of the latest exclusive and seasonal flavored Japanese snacks that are only available for a short time in Japan. This month's theme is Valentine's, which to me seems like the perfect gift to give to any loved one in February to celebrate a loving holiday while experiencing a little bit of Japan from the comfort of your own homes. I love the variety within these snack boxes and that they always come with a fun drink. This time we got a fruit juice, which was sweet and tangy, so good, honestly it reminded me of Welch's grape juice. I also wanted to try a snack that was kind of a little bit out of my comfort zone. I tried the corn porridge puff. It surprisingly ended up being one of my favorites. It tasted exactly like sweet corn. I also didn't notice that these chips had some spice till after I tasted them. They are a spicy chili tomato chip flavored with Kyushu grown tomatoes, and probably one of the best tomato flavored chips I ever had, and this is coming from a girl who doesn't like tomatoes in general. Sakura Co. Snap Box is an authentic Japanese snap box in which supports local Japanese snap makers. Each box comes with 20 traditional, authentic, and artisan Japanese snacks, including Japanese teas and a special Japanese tableware. One of my favorite things about the snap box is how perfectly crafted it is, that it really does feel like it has an immersive feeling of learning the culture and different tastes from different parts of Japan. This month's theme also centers around Valentine's, where it feels like it's a perfect blending of traditional and contemporary delights and a beautiful tale of love and unity. I tried the strawberry daifuku, which had a subtle sweetness, and I also tried the peach dorayaki, a favorite of mine from this box. The pancake was fluffy and decadent, and the hint of peach in the middle was just the ideal small treat for me. And the cocoa sencha tea smelled amazing, like a little bag of chocolate. And the taste, the hint of cocoa in the tea, I never thought that would be such a pair, and it was delicious. Both these subscription boxes would be the perfect gift for your family, friend, and even treating yourself for Valentine's Day, or any time really, especially if you want to experience and learn a little more about Japan. Be sure to use code JOZU to enjoy a $5 discount on your initial Sakura Co. and Tokyo Treat box using my link down below in the description box. Alright, so I fibbed saying I went to 4 places, but I actually went to 5. I kind of forgot I went to Animate at some point and did some damage. It's been a tedious search to find these specific Bleach omnibuses, but I officially have the complete set of these Shoisha Jump remixes. I got the volumes 9, 10, 13, 15, 19, 20, and 22 through 26. Originally, I was collecting the English omnibus volumes for a while, but when these came out in conjunction with the Thousand Year Blood War arc anime, I wanted to collect these instead. They just have a much cooler aesthetic to them than the English volumes, especially when it came to the style of it alternating between black and white, and some of the volumes actually have updated character designs. I do have a goal in mind for these specific volumes, and that is to have the anime voice actors to autograph them at some point in time. Whether it be the English or the Japanese voice actors, I just think it would be something really special to collect since I am a Bleach superfan. The rest of these volumes I got from Kuma Books. I got the latest volume, Volume 8 of Matcha Made in Heaven, which is a series I hold deeply in my heart, especially these past couple of years. Basically, it's a fake marriage but blooming romance trope, and it definitely has me on edge after reading each volume, but comfortably though, if that makes any sense. There's a lot of subtle will they won't they moments of genuine care and growth, and lots of laughing and kicking my feet up in the air blushing. The series is also available in English as a digital print from Kodansha, just an FYI, so check it out if you haven't, because I highly recommend it. I also got volume 8 of Yakuza Fiance. It's the latest volume I needed to update my collection. And it also seems like it's at a very critical part right now where the story seems to be shaking things up between the male lead and the female lead, which I cannot wait to start reading here pretty soon. I also wanted to bring this up. Did anyone see that they announced a TV anime adaptation last year in October? I haven't really seen any news lately of when it's actually coming out, but either way, I am so excited for it, especially to see how they will translate the beautiful art style from print to animation. Up next, I got volume 7 of Takahashi from the Bicycle Shop. This is more so or less a slice of life romance manga series that emphasizes on what it means to care and understand one another. It's super sweet and endearing, and so that's kind of why I've been slowly reading it and collecting it for a few years now. And I'm also just now getting caught up reading it too. Okay, I kind of goofed up here. I really thought that they had came out with a new volume of Choking on Love, but they didn't. So I got a dupe of volume 2, and I'm a little bummed that I did this because it just kind of sucks to get doubles when you really thought you were getting something new. But on a positive note, I can always donate this or give this to someone who really wants it more than I do right now. Up next, I got volumes 2 and 3 of Higashi Sengoku-san no Makeup Doll. I really like that they have advertising cards for these other series on the front. It's super nice to have, it's like a little treat that I got. Okay, so this is one of those series I saw on TikTok and instantly knew I was gonna love it. Granted, I've only read the first few chapters, but it's basically about a university student who has little to no knowledge about fashion or makeup and is at a loss on how to dress herself up, especially when she's invited to a party. Luckily, she does get help by a male beauty school student, and things kind of develop from there. Yep, that's all I know so far, but trust me, I will binge read it soon and will report back to y'all on how I feel about it. Alright, so when buying manga in Japan, it kind of feels like playing the lottery at times, at least to me, because sometimes in these manga volumes they can contain photo cards, promos, just nice little goodies. And this one here happened to have a little promo booklet for other series, which I'm gonna keep close by so I can check them out later and see if there's any of them that have piqued my interest. Now, when I saw that Kuma Books had these first 2 volumes of Firefly Wedding, I ran, jumped, screamed, rolled around on the floor. I mean, okay, that was kind of all in my head, but I snatched these up real quick. I think for a solid week on TikTok and IG a few months ago, my For You page was of nothing but panels and chapters from this series. And I knew if I ever saw that there was a print of this series, I had to get it. It's so different from the quote-unquote romances I ever read. It's dark, gory, and the male lead is very good at making you want to ignore all of his red flags. He is the red flag. And a little bit of synopsis of this series. The daughter of an upper-class family who seems to be terminally ill feels burdened by it, and also burdened by the pressure of high society standards, marriage, blah 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 blah. After certain situations, she does get abducted and placed in a cell where then male lead, who's kind of aloof, creepy, and hyper obsessive, he's also an assassin, is also not in a very good situation and ends up in the same cell too. After a few exchanging of words and instances of the whole situation, which was just crazy and chaotic, it actually ends up with the male lead proposing in the middle of a fight or flight situation. And with a very reluctant but needed for survival yes from the daughter, the rest is history. Next up, I got the latest volume 4 of Step, Kick, Love. This series features a lot of chaotic red flag personalities, especially from the main characters. Kaho is a hardworking salary woman, and Akira indulges in drinking, smoking, fighting, and of course being a womanizer. But somehow Kaho really enjoys going to the local bar and spending her time talking with him. Until one night, they do cross that boundary of just being good friends. And yeah, so far in the story, they kind of been struggling back and forth on how things will change for them and trying to navigate these new feelings that they never explore or even thought of about each other before, especially with Akira. I kind of have to keep in mind as a reader that he does seem to struggle with some type of abandonment trauma, and this series has barely touched on that subject. It really just kind of coded over it in a few panels and hasn't touched back on it yet. So I'm kind of excited to see if they're ever going to go back to it and if it's going to draw in the female lead at some point. So we'll just have to see how that's going to turn out in the near future with the next couple of volumes. And for the last of the Kuma books in Animate Haul, I got all the volumes that I could, volumes 1 through 6 of Veil. Somehow, months ago, the series popped up, surprise, surprise, on my For You page on TikTok, and I just have not been the same since. I ended up binge reading this series in a matter of days and can honestly say this is part of my top 5 favorite reads of all time. Veil kind of had this vibrant and elegant art style to it that really captivated me, especially because it just looked so sophisticated and straight out of a 1920s Great Gatsby era. And the fact that the story follows minor moments between a blind woman and a policeman with small fleeting touches here and there that really just involved the most mundane task, yet it still was one of the most sensual and intimate stories I have ever read that didn't involve sexual touch. I kind of want to leave it at that because you just have to read it. Go do it right now because I guarantee you're going to fall in love with it like I did. Now, getting into the Crunchyroll haul, I was a little worried about how the manga was going to fare during the journey through the US Postal Service. And as we can see, this box kind of barely made it, but I was even more curious on how Crunchyroll would pack it. I had orders before that weren't manga from Crunchyroll where it seemed they kind of just threw things in there with no protection, and it has led to some breakage in some cases. It looks like I got lucky this time and no manga was damaged. So the first volume I picked up for this haul, I got volume 1 of Pink Heart Jam. I noticed a few friends on Instagram were really into it, so it kind of piqued my interest. Actually, I decided to get it without even knowing what it was about, which is a bit of a bad habit I have, I'll admit that. But this time it worked out because I really enjoyed the first volume. It was kind of hard to put down once I had started reading it. So far, the story follows Higa, a cheerful and friendly freshman in university who joins a rock music club and stumbles upon a senior member, Kanane, and instantly becomes awestruck of them. Due to some following club events, it kind of leads to Higa finding himself at a box spa, basically a place that offers intimate same-sex services. So Higa does have some lingering doubts about his sexuality, and he kind of goes to flow with this situation and thinks this might help him find a more definitive answer about his sexuality. Just as he's entering the room of the service that he bought, it happened to be that the person that is servicing him is Kanane. And that sets the tone for the rest of the volume, where it kind of covers these two people discussing and figuring out sexuality, and even more so figuring out their own feelings that are growing towards each other. I really appreciate how this story does discuss sexuality and feelings without any toxicity, shame, or miscommunication. It just genuinely feels like two people figuring out relationships, whether it be friendships, sexual desire, or anything in between. Now, I'm not sure if I ever talked about Cinderella Closet before, but this is one of my favorite reads I picked up in 2023. For this haul, I picked up the latest volume, Volume 4, and been sitting on edge after reading each volume just to see what's next for Haruka and Hikaru's relationship and personal growth. Basically, Haruka came from the countryside to Tokyo for college. She lacks a lot of things, but she is deeply trying her best to make up for it. During some situations, she ended up meeting Hikaru, who is femme presenting sometimes and other times not, and Hikaru helps her with her journey in the big city and trying to gain some confidence. Over time, Hikaru begins to develop feelings for Haruka, but holds back, only wanting to help her in her goals, quest for love, and many other things. But lately, it seems like Haruka may finally realize that she sees Hikaru the same way that they do for her. This is another series I'm reading volumes as they come out. I got volume 5 of A Condition Called Love, and I read it immediately as soon as I got home. As the relationship between the male lead and the female lead developed further, I kind of still beat myself up even more for being so judgmental towards the male lead, especially since I found out one of his biggest secrets in this volume. Alright, I've been hyped about this series getting an English print for over a year now. I still haven't even read it yet, but trust me, when I flip through this, I can just tell it's going to be one of the funniest series I'm actively, I plan to actively read. I got volume 1 of Marriage Toxin. It's basically about this guy who's part of a poison clan of professional assassins. Because of the history of the clan and how hard the profession is, he doesn't have much time for relationships, marriage, things in that type of relation, until the clan was basically like, if you don't marry and produce a heir, we're gonna make your sister do that instead. Which makes him a little uneasy and not that much happy about the situation, so he starts his journey on how to appeal to women and finding the one to marry in order for his sister not to take up on that burden. At Jump Festa, they really hyped the series up again. They even had someone come out and cosplay as the male lead at the booths for pictures, and all kinds of sorts of goodies were going on to promote this series. So yeah, this will be a series I will have to report back on how I feel about it sometime in the near future. Now these next few series, I'm just going to speed round this since these are volumes I just need to catch up on collecting and reading. I got 7 Time Loop Volume 7 and also Volume 2 of I Can't Refuse S. Now I finally picked up Volume 1 of Not So Wicked Stepmother. It's kind of a playoff off the story of Snow White, but featuring the quote-unquote wicked stepmother who was reincarnated into this world. Okay, first of all, why are these manhwa volumes so freaking heavy? Like, you can do some damage with these. Look at this. This was absolutely a great recommendation from one of my best friends. I'm so glad I listened to her because this series took me by surprise, and I'm willing to put it pretty high up there on my manhwa fave reads list. I mean, after reading volume 1, I went straight online to read up on the latest chapters, which was like high up there in the hundreds, and it made me feel lots of emotions I really wasn't expecting from a reincarnate villainous redemption story. I laughed, I got angry, I even cried, and that's because somehow it just got so relatable when it was showcasing some pretty intense traumas. We're talking about SA, DA, BA, eating disorders, body dysmorphia, and I definitely want to go further explaining this series. There's just so much depth to it to explore, but I think I might try to set some time aside in the near future to kind of make a manhwas I've been reading type of video. And lastly, another speed round of volumes I need to catch up collecting and reading. I got Volume 2 of Nina the Starry Bride, Volume 6 of In the Clear Moonlit Dusk, Volume 12 of 86 the Light Novel, and Volume 1 of How I Met My Soulmate. And for the last of this big haul, it was between Second and Charles and Barnes & Noble. We're starting off strong with Omnibus Volume 3 and 4 of Don't Call It a Mystery. I'm finally joining the hype train behind this series. I should have joined it a long time ago, and kind of mad I didn't read it any sooner. I just finished up volumes 1 and 2, and will be honest, this is typically a genre I normally don't gravitate to, but it's just so good. The way that the characters and the plot are written had me turning page after page, wanting to know what's going to happen next, and now I finally realize the joy of reading mystery stories because of wanting to figure out how everything is puzzled together. I recently learned that the series also has a TV drama adaptation. It's streaming on the streaming service Viki. I'm glad I have it, so now I'm officially going to add to my list to watch sometime soon. Next up, I got the complete manga set of My Boss is a Giant. He manages my every need with enormous skill. Honestly, I am a self-declared smut queen, so this is purely an enjoyment, quick, spicy romance read with very little plot to go off of. It's just 2 office workers who start a relationship and trying to explore each other's needs. It was cute and fun, and I can actually see myself going back to read this multiple times throughout the year, especially if I need a quick fix while I'm reading other series. And now, basically for the rest of this haul, it's going to be our last speed round because all of these volumes are just volumes I needed to pick up while I had the chance. I got volume 7 of A Sign of Affection, volume 6 of Condition Called Love, volume 13, which is the last volume for the series of Love a Kill, volume 8 of Imakoi, volume 19 and 20 of Snow White with the Red Hair, volume 40 of Yona the Dawn, volume 5 of Villains Are Destined to Die, and lastly, volume 4 and volume 5 of The Boxer.
And that concludes today's manga haul. If you really like these types of videos, let a girl know. I definitely would love to do some more. And if you don't like them, well, also let me know so I can, I don't know, cry in the corner over there, probably. Anyways, I showed a lot of manga series today, so let me know what your thoughts are about them too, and if any of them have piqued your interest, if you haven't read them or if you had read them, let a girl know in the comments or DM me, whatever. I really would love to talk about it. So with that, I hope you guys have a Jozu day, and until next time, bye!